Hi everybody, it's me again. I am sitting here on my patio today and thought I would do a what I'm reading now kind of video. It's been a while since I've done one of these and thought it's a good time to as any, right? So if you want to hear what I've been reading, stay tuned. Okay, so most of the books I'm going to talk about are ones that I'm currently reading or listening to, but I do want to start with a few that I read like in September that were really good that I thought would be good to share. So first one of those is this one, The Little Book of Hygge, Danish Secrets to Happy Living. And this is written by a guy who works at the Happiness Research Institute in Copenhagen and just talks about what hygge is and why it is such a contributor to why Danish people are viewed as the happiest people in the world. That was kind of a fun read. I'm looking forward to incorporating a few of the ideas from there in my life, and yeah, it was pretty good. So that was the first one that I had finished that I wanted to share. The other one was one that my book club did last month for September, and we had some really good discussion on it, and it was really good, and that's Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. It's the story of a woman who is kind of a misfit, has some trauma in her history and is very rigid in her ways and just doesn't really seem to fit in very well, and has a very dysfunctional relationship with her mother that as time goes on you kind of hear more about what's really going on there, and it's kind of an unexpected twist. But she meets this new guy at work named Raymond. He's in IT, and they become friends, and he's kind of the complete opposite of her, but he is like the one person who likes her for her, and they develop this friendship, and he helps her through a lot of stuff, and it was just one of those stories that kind of makes you laugh out loud and also just really kind of makes you want to cry at the same time. And I'd say if you liked Where'd You Go, Bernadette, or anything of that nature, you'd really like this book. The other thing that was really fun about it is it's set in Scotland, and sorry, the sun came out, so now I'm kind of like, my light's changing and squinting a little bit. But it's set in Scotland, which also adds kind of another fun twist and charm to it as well. So. And then the other one from September that I wanted to share was Legendborn. This is one that was a really quick read and really hard to put down. It's a young adult fantasy, deals a lot with Arthurian legend and this girl who finds herself in the midst of the secret society at the school that she's at that is all centered around Arthur, and there's the idea is that like the actual Arthur and Merlin and everybody, their abilities got transferred down through bloodlines, and all of these creatures, mythical creatures that are coming through that they have to try to take care of, and there's some other complications with some of the characters and some of the trauma that she's had with the loss of her mother and just all sorts of different things. I really liked it a lot. I would highly recommend it. The only thing is that when I picked it up, I didn't know that it was going to be a series, and so I finished it, and it was definitely set up for a sequel. And since this is a fairly new book and it the sequel isn't out yet, so I don't know when it will be out, and so you kind of have to be prepared for a little bit of a wait to see how the story is going to continue. But other than that, I really recommend it. So those were the September books that I wanted to kind of share. So now we're going to get into what I'm currently working on. And so the first one is, I'm actually listening to this one. I've read it before and really liked it. Kate Morton is one of my all-time favorite authors, and I like to go back to her books a lot. And Clockmaker's Daughter was her most recent one, and is kind of centered around this house in England and different people who have been tied to that house throughout the ages. So there was an artist back in the 1800s, and there was a tragedy there at the house, and he had a strong connection to it, and then he ended up leaving it to his sister, who then started a school there, and then there was another tragedy at the school, and then there was a boy who had been there with his family during the Blitz in World War II, and then now his great niece, who found out that her mother had been by that house and right before she died. And so there's all of these connections there, and it's kind of the story of everything kind of unfolds throughout the book through the perspective of a ghost who's living there at the house, who had been there through all of it. So it was, and she is the clockmaker's daughter. I like that kind of book, and I love historical fiction, and I like the kind of supernatural element in there, and it's just a really good one. So I'm listening to that, and we'll probably actually be finished with it probably in a day or two. I'm also reading the book Inspired by Rachel Held Evans, and this one I am actually reading with a friend of mine. I had picked this up, and then she saw that I had gotten it and said, I've been wanting to read that too, let's read it together. So we're just kind of reading a section at a time and then getting together to talk about it, but it's just about different ways of reading the Bible. So it talks about like how some of it's poetry, some of it's memoir, some of it's different things, and it's interesting. We've had a lot of good discussion on it already, and yeah, so that's what that one is. And then I'm also reading The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. I'm almost done with this one as well, and this one is a collection of essays that he just talks about different things in our world. So he's got essays on like velociraptors and cholera and Dr. Pepper and Kentucky bluegrass and all sorts of different things. And it's just got a lot of really fun facts about different things and a little bit of history that I didn't know before. And he's got some fun stories from him and his brother Hank, who you probably also know because Hank's pretty well known, and in their childhood and different things. And it's spoken, just in a very conversational way, and it's just been really cool. Yeah, it's fun, and I just kind of read an essay a night and have been really enjoying this one. So, and then finally, the one that I'm reading this month, right now, is The Push. I've heard a lot of really good things about that, and then my book club is reading it, and I am about 100 pages in. It's going pretty quickly, and it's a psychological thriller, but I'm still kind of trying to get to the point where we figure out like what the thriller part is. It's more just backstory at the moment, but it has to do with mother-daughter relationships and families, and the idea of nature and nurture, and how the way we were raised affects us in different ways. And It's very well written, and it's really hard to put down, and it also and part of it I think too is just like, you know that something's gonna happen, so waiting to see what it is, and then I imagine once we figure that out, then it's also gonna be like, okay, so how does this resolve itself? But it's pretty fast-paced, and it's really good, and it's very thought-provoking, and so far I'm really enjoying it. So that's the other one, the last one that I'm currently reading. Yeah, so with that, I'd say thanks for sharing this with me and listening, and if you decide to pick up any of these, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on them, and I'd also love to hear what you are reading now too, because I love to have recommendations from you guys too. So with that, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, hit that like button, give it a thumbs up, and until next time, keep being awesome. Thanks, bye.